guys ever notice when the game is coming out that for some weird reason you got these weird people on the internet that won't see any gameplay, won't see any real, concrete anything about the game, and they get really, really oddly not just excited, but like insane. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the YouTube channel. It's your host, the smoothest fingers in the gaming industry. Your man Zai AZ, and the person who always tells you to be patient about these games, because I had to learn the hard lesson with Cyberpunk, right? Goodness gracious, man, Cyberpunk. Still love the game. I still do, but man, I learned my lesson. Now, even with Cyberpunk 2077, I kept telling everybody, hey, be patient, right? Don't have these unrealistic expectations for the game. I didn't think that the bar that was set when I was saying that they would shoot still lower than that bar, but I mean, at least I tried, right? At least I tried. I told you guys this, right? I told you guys always to be patient with these games, and the real reason that I learned to be patient with these games and not to trust these games was from No Man's Sky. Now, obviously, if you're not familiar with the channel, you're not familiar with me and haven't followed my content pretty much from channel to channel, which is very rare to find. Again, not a big YouTuber, don't really care about it. But if you remember back in those days, I was really excited about No Man's Sky. I was really happy about it. It was one of these games that I was just like, this is the game I've been waiting on. And yeah, it was just not in 2016. Man, dude, I remember taking that game back to GameStop and being like, don't ever let me buy another game on disc. And ever since that day, I have not bought another game on disc once. But all in all, as I state this and as I go on about my rants about these games, essentially No Man's Sky brought this kind of patience and let me see gameplay and let me see the game out first before I buy it. Now, the only game that I've done that and pre-ordered in the recent years have been two games, Modern Warfare 2019 and Cyberpunk 2077. Now, you're going to ask me, why would you do that after making those decisions? And essentially the reason why is, oh, I lied, sorry, Red Dead Redemption 2, my bad. Red Dead Redemption 2, okay, that wins. Okay, that was a good reason to buy that. Rockstar Red Dead Redemption, mwah. But the other games outside of that were the games that I mentioned, and the reason that I did these was because Cyberpunk 2077 was a game I had waited on since 2012, and if you guys are familiar with my Cyberpunk content, you understand that I waited for a long time, ever since the first trailer, to see that kind of game. I'm interested in that type of landscape, in that type of world, in that type of theme. I wouldn't like to live in somewhere with Cyberpunk 2077. I'm not that weird. Whereas Modern Warfare 2019, I'm not gonna lie, I was living off the hype of the old Modern Warfares, and they did a good job of it. They did a really good job of marketing that game, pushing that game, and even though there were some great innovations with Gunsmith and everything, at the end of the day, if you guys aren't familiar with it, I hate that game in a multiplayer sense. The campaign, I really loved it, really enjoyed it. Spec Ops doesn't exist. I never played it, never touched it. It was broken from the get-go. But they really pushed that hype, and I was really, disappointed by Modern Warfare 2019 that even when Cyberpunk rolled around, I didn't really want to do that no more. I didn't really want to go through that heartbreak and go through that stuff anymore. And so I've been relatively calm, relatively chill about it. Until a game called Starfield comes out of nowhere. Now, again, I can state this all day and I can do this every day about how to be patient and how to, just wait for game developers to put out gameplay. But at the end of the day, there are always going to be those people who don't listen to that, fall for it, and they get disappointed by it. Now, am I saying Starfield's going to disappoint us? Absolutely not. I have no clue what this game entitles. It's the same thing that I felt about Elden Ring, where it was a lot of hype. It got a lot of teasing. There was a lot of different leaks about it, but I wasn't really into that sort of game, wasn't keeping up with it until they dropped a bombshell beta on us, delayed the game a little bit, and then it ended up coming out on my birthday, and I absolutely love Elden Ring now. Again, patient review coming. I am working on that. Should see that by the end of the week. I'm just here to kind of be the voice in the community again that's telling you guys just to be patient. Bethesda did give us a shit project with Fallout 76, an absolute abysmal project that I've never let them down for, and then try to give us to pay a subscription service on top of that shit product. So let's just be aware of that and just remember that. But again, I do understand that one game is very small in comparison to the rest of the games that they've made. And supposedly, if this is running on a new engine, which I highly doubt, I don't think it's going to be a new engine. I think it's going to be an updated version of the engine, just like MW 2019 was for Call of Duty. I don't see why you would break something that works. I really don't. I know that it's buggy, it's messy, it's messed up, but every open world game is. It's really hard to make a game that's just not buggy at all and completely sound. It's actually impossible to do, but to make it as sound as something like Elden Ring, I don't know. They would have to literally reinvent the formula, and I don't think Bethesda necessarily needs to do that. I think Skyrim's still a great, interesting, and fun game. I just think a lot of the game-breaking bugs needs to go. But some of the fun bugs, like dragons flying backwards, those were always funny to me. It was always like, ha, look at that. As long as it ain't persistent and keep happening over and over again, I really enjoyed it. But again, I just don't really see Starfield being a new engine and being this completely revamp of a game that everybody's saying. And I'm not saying it's not going to be a great game. This is Bethesda's first new IP in what, 20 years? I think that's what we're looking at, is about 20 years, 20 something years. So I'm really interested to see that. I like Bethesda when it's not Fallout 76. I have no problems with some of the things that they do and most of the things that they do. But I'm just here to tell you guys, if you look at the Reddit, you can just tell that people are just freaking out like, oh my God, I can't wait. Please don't let me die before this game comes out. And I understand. I've been there with Cyberpunk 2077. But at the same time, I had seen a 50-minute gameplay loop or a gameplay footage before I was even really super excited about Cyberpunk. And I would just like to see some gameplay first, see what Starfield's about. I don't even know where it's at. I don't know what's going on. You know what I mean? I know that there's lore and they've kind of like done these little lead ups and markets to it. And Bethesda doesn't really show gameplay until about 3 or 4 months out for their games. So, we're going to see some in the next month or two. But before we start covering it, before we start getting into it, I just wanted to just put this out there for the community. Just be patient here. We don't need to be up poking and prodding the bear, as I like to say it, in Bethesda, and giving them any other reason to make half-assed games or anything like that. There's been a bunch of leaks and a bunch of rumors that I followed on Reddit about this game and how this game has too much content. And as much as I would like to say that that's a thing, actually, I don't know what that means for some people, but apparently there's too much content. I don't know if you guys have played Elden Ring yet, but that game has too much content and I'm enjoying every second of it. I don't know what that means. Okay, I really don't. But for those people out there who don't have the necessary time, whatever, these people who always complain about the games being too long, same thing with Witcher 3 and Skyrim and Cyberpunk. Like I said, maybe the game just isn't for you. Have you ever thought about that, right? Stop trying to change games that other people enjoy. How about you just pick another game? It's really not that complicated, but again, I like criticism, and sometimes games are unnecessarily bloated. AC Valhalla, good God, dude, that game is fucking juice. Why is that even a thing? Why is that game still so massive after Odyssey? Do you guys know? I don't fucking know. I don't know, man. Bethesda has a history of janky games, but great ones, and so maybe it'll be good. I'm hoping for it to be great. Nothing makes me harder than a rock than good video games. Great video games, actually. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Do you agree with me? Do you disagree with me? As always, I enjoy you nonetheless. Bless up. As always, God bless. And I'll see you guys in the next be patient about video games discussion. Let's just be real here. If you paid for the subscription of Fallout 76, you probably don't have enough brain cells to even think about pre-ordering a game.